Head over there. The U.S. Navy faced a significant challenge as the American fleet neared the strait.
Effectively blocked by underwater mines placed across the strait by Iranian soldiers. One of the riskiest parts
of the entire operation would be clearing these mines, which would need patience, accuracy, and continuous defense.
From Iranian air and missile strikes. The straightforward floating contact weapons of earlier conflicts are not the
same as modern naval mines. Invisible from a ship's deck, today's mines are either moored at a
predetermined depth below the surface or rest on the seabed. To identify passing boats, they employ a variety of sensors, including pressure, auditory, and magnetic ones. The Earth's magnetic field is distorted when a
magnetic sensor detects a ship's metal hull. The unique sound profile of a ship's engines and propellers
is detected using an acoustic sensor. When a huge ship displaces water as it passes overhead, a
pressure sensor measures the change in water pressure. Advanced mines combine all three, necessitating the fulfillment of
several requirements prior to explosion. This implies that a mine may detonate beneath a ship without the
ship ever coming into contact with it. Human divers were needed in circumstances demanding precise labor while
deck. They put on their wetsuits, fastened their breathing apparatus, and examined their tools, communication devices, dive computers, and underwater lights. When they were ready, they boarded inflatable boats with sturdy hulls and drove away from the ship in the direction of the locations that the scanning teams had marked.
The rest of the operation remained fully defensive as the divers went to their dive spot.
Their eyes fixed on the sky and ocean, the soldiers aboard the ships remained behind their machine. Guns. Binocular-wielding lookouts rotated continuously over the horizon, while the fleet was delayed and preoccupied with clearing
mines. There was a persistent and real risk of an Iranian drone or missile strike. The fleet
drastically slowed down. The chance of running over an undiscovered mine at high speed was too high.
Formation's ships all slowed to a crawl. The sea ahead and under the hulls was being
swept by all of the onboard sonar equipment and mine detection scanners. The group's ships and submarines
were fully prepared for battle, while the fleet was traveling slowly and exposed in the narrow strait. Anti-air systems were in operation, monitoring the skies for Iranian Shahed drones and ballistic missiles that may be fired at it. Ahead of the formation, helicopters took off from the carrier and started flying patterns across the ocean. At maximum readiness, door gunners sat behind their rifles, watching the water and
surface below for any obvious indications of mine action, as well as the horizon for enemy threats.
Mine detecting equipment was hauled by a few helicopters. Sonar sleds that could detect items on the
bottom and transmit the information back to the ship in real time were pulled through the water.
On long cables. The fleet's path across the strait was painstakingly swept by the helicopter crews, working
sector by sector. After arriving at their destination, the divers dove into the sea. They descended using
the sonar team's coordinates. There was little visibility. They used their lights to move gently over the bottom while they looked through the reef structure. The mine was partially buried and lodged deep in
the coral, making it impossible for an autonomous vehicle to safely navigate to destroy it. The divers
used underwater communications to report back to the ship after doing a thorough visual inspection and verifying
kind and condition of the mine. It was decided not to try manual disarming.
The mine was too dangerous to handle directly due to its location within the reef. Rather, the divers noted
the spot and returned to the surface. They separated themselves from the mining site by swimming away
from the area and going back to their inflatable boat. A mine disposal vehicle, a tiny, remotely
operated submersible made especially to approach and remove mines underwater, was released from the ship by crew. An operator monitoring a live video feed on a monitor directed the vehicle as it was lowered into the sea. The disposal truck cautiously approached the mine after descending to its location and positioned a charge near to the apparatus. The operator verified that the charge was in place. The car retreated to a secure distance. Everything was shown on the computers in the operations room.
all monitor the same stream. The location of the charge, the disposal truck, and the mine are
all clearly visible and under complete control. The charge exploded. A column of water and debris
rose to the surface as a result of a muted underwater explosion. The mine was demolished.
The sonar crew verified that the contact had vanished. At that time, the path seemed obvious.
Ammunition!
Handlers raised crates of belted rounds for the deck-mounted heavy machine guns from the lower decks.
After being unloaded and examined, the belts were transported topside. The weapons were loaded with ammo and
secured. To make sure the guns were cycling and prepared, the gunners charged their weapons and fired.
Brief test bursts over the lake. These machine guns had two functions. They might be used to
destroy floating mines observed on the surface at a safe distance, as well as to engage opposing
drones in the air. The path was now secure, but the threat of future mines remained high.
Every successful disposal brought the fleet closer to its objective of reopening the global maritime trade routes.
Vigilance was the only defense against an invisible enemy that could strike from beneath the ocean surface.
It would bring new challenges, but the EOD teams were ready to face whatever lay in wait.
The process was slow, but the goal of freedom of navigation justified the immense risk they took.
Air assets provided the eyes, but the divers provided the precision required for the most difficult work.
In the silence of the Strait, the battle for control of the seas continued without a sound.
Scanning for the next metallic signature that would signal another dangerous mine lodged in the coral reef.
Every signature detected was a potential tragedy averted, a critical step in the ongoing mission for safety.
The technology of the disposal vehicles continued to save lives by replacing humans in the most dangerous zones.
Precision in navigation allowed the fleet to move with confidence through the narrowest parts of the strait. The data gathered by helicopters and divers was integrated into a master map for the entire fleet. Preparation was constant, as the transition from mine clearing to active combat could happen in a second. Advanced imaging revealed objects hidden from the naked eye, providing a tactical edge in the dark waters. Another dive mission began as the fleet moved into the next sector of the heavily mined strait. The methodical search continued, 1 square meter at a time, ensuring the safety of the entire group.